Week 2, and this time Illinois is going to play a really good football team. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is right around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now. My name is Sonny Durham, and I hope you guys all enjoyed your Labor Day. I certainly did. And I'll have a special announcement if you're willing to stick around for the third segment that I'm going to be making about you, the public, being able to get more Illini content in general. And a lot of that has to do with this huge community that we're building here at Locked On. Also, over the weekend, I had a chance to record a kind of a crossover episode with the Locked On Blue Devils host, JJ Jackson. It was hosted by Spencer McLaughlin, who you've seen me on the show with him before. He is the host of Locked On College Football and Locked On Oregon. Instead of doing a separate crossover full episode with JJ, we're like, you know what, let's just go ahead and run those segments on this show, and then stay tuned for the third segment. Like I said, I got a fun little announcement to make for you guys.
Big stakes in Durham this week. One of the best games in the country is taking place between Duke? Yeah, that Duke. Football Duke, not basketball Duke. And Illinois. This is a basketball showdown if I've ever seen one. Sonny Verma of Locked On Illini and JJ Jackson of Locked On Blue Devils are both here to talk about this game. I'm stoked for it, guys. I love that both of these programs are playing a game that the whole country is going to be paying attention to. There should be a lot of eyeballs because there's a lot on the line this week. The way I see it for both your programs, and I'll give you guys a chance to jump in and share your thoughts. For Illinois, you have the opportunity to realize the potential that people like me have talked about all offseason and prove that you're not going to be a step-back program. And for Duke, it's that the commitment was worth it. Going out and paying for Darian Mensah was worth paying all the money and getting yourself to that next level, and this is an opportunity to really showcase that. So, Sonny, I'll start with you. I think this is a huge game for Illinois, and a loss would really sting and probably take away their chance of being an at-large playoff team.
You're exactly right. It's one of those where Illinois was a 48.5-point favorite last weekend, and they covered the spread, and still the Illini fan base wasn't 100% satisfied with that victory. I've been an Illini fan for 25 plus years. The mindset has absolutely changed in Champaign. We know Duke is going to absolutely put up a fight. The line, I think, is a lot closer than people thought it was going to be. Last I checked, it was a -2.5, which surprised a lot of Illini fans, but not if you see what's going on over there in Durham. It's a huge matchup. You're 1-0. If you can go 2-0, then you play a MAC school week 3, which would set up a big showdown with Indiana in Bloomington, a matchup of undefeated teams. But I promise you, Bret Bielema is not overlooking the Blue Devils.
No, and he definitely shouldn't be. Though the first half last week, JJ, wasn't super encouraging. It got better in the second half, but we were all watching the first half going, this is not what you were hoping for with a $4 million quarterback behind center. But what do you see as being on the line for Duke this week at home against Illinois, 12th ranked in the country?
Yeah, I don't think we had a 10-10 game at halftime on the scorecard or the bingo card for what we thought would play out against Elon, but at least you play the second half to see the real Duke football team that a lot of people expect to see throughout the course of the season on display there. It was just proof that, a quarterback shows up, he throws for 389 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He's everything that Duke wanted him to be. He's worth the reported $4 million investment that Duke had. Now you've got a really awesome atmosphere on your campus on Saturday. And this is something that we're really not used to seeing. It was just a year ago that Duke had College Game Day on campus for the first time ever for a football game. We're getting more and more football games as of late for a Duke football program that's won 26 games over the last 3 years. So, yeah, we're used to those big-time showdowns in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Now we get one in football, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, typically a basketball matchup, but this football matchup is going to be really fun, and it's not a huge spread. According to our friends at FanDuel, you're correct, Sonny, -2.5 in favor of the Illini in spite of Duke's first half struggles against Elon last week. They got it right in the second half, outscored them 35-7 in the second. But Illinois, why was Illinois, or why were some Illinois fans not all the way thrilled with a beatdown of Western Illinois last week?
Well, it's just when you think you won by 49 points, I think you want to see a flawless victory. There was concerns coming into the season with the wide receiver room. You obviously lost Pat Bryant, you lost Zachary Franklin. You have a lot of talent in that room. And Hank Beatty, absolutely, he broke Red Grange's record for most punt return yards, and he had 108 yards himself, which I believe led the Big Ten Conference. But outside that, there wasn't much. Justin Boat did have 2 touchdowns, but when you watch the tape, it seemed like there was a trouble getting any sort of separation. And when you're talking about a Western Illinois team that's one of the worst in FCS, that's not what you wanted to see. So I just think there's a little cause for concern that we already had question marks about this wide receiver room, and the fact that they couldn't, didn't have more than one guy really blow up. I think that's just what people are worried about. But truth be told, Spencer, I think it's simply we all understand how much pressure there is on this football team to do exactly what you said. The expectations are high now. Okay, we won 8 games 3 seasons ago. We followed that up with a 5-win season. Last year, we won 10. All of us are kind of holding our breath and we're paranoid because we've been Illini football fans for so long that we want to tell ourselves that this is going to be sustained success, but sometimes we revert back to that paranoia that it might not be.
Football fans are damaged, broken people. Don't let anyone tell you differently. You can't shake the past. It just haunts you forever. JJ, what flipped in the first half to the second for Duke last week, and how did they carry that over to Illinois?
Well, one, just finishing drives. There was a missed field goal for the Blue Devils late in that first half, a muff punt. I mean, Duke was able to just control the football and take care of business. The yardage was there in the first half. It just didn't necessarily result in points. And then defensively, I thought Duke's edges were able to kind of get in the face of Landon Clark, who was a feisty quarterback playing at the FCS level there for Elon. So certainly kind of fun to watch him get after it and chirp a little bit against that Duke football defense. But I was just really impressed with Mensah not shying away from any of these expectations and the hype that a lot of people have put on him when they know the investment that Duke has made there and these receivers that are coming along with him. It was really, really fun to watch, and I'm excited for him having even brighter lights shining on him with the showdown like this against Illinois.
I'm going to see if I can pit you guys against each other here. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Who feels like they have the better quarterback in this game? Luke Altmyer at Illinois or Darian Mensah at Duke?
I mean, selfishly, I'm going to say Luke Altmyer. I've seen him. He's in his 3rd year in the same system with the same head coach, with the same offensive coordinator. I think he looks super poised. When I say the Illini faithful was a tad bit concerned over the performance on Friday night, not about Luke Altmyer. I think he was 17 for 21. He looked every bit the 5th-year college player that he is.
Yeah, I'm not going to switch up on my guy, Darian Mensah. I mean, I think we're going to hold strong there with our guys and the fact that he did play so well in his opener. He lived up to the hype. I think he's going to be able to do that, his ability to extend plays a little bit. Look, he's an awesome football player, and I'm ready for the rest of the football world to see more of him this season.
When I look at these two guys in the matchup, it's fascinating because I look at Luke Altmyer and I see higher floor, probably a lower ceiling though, whereas Mensah, I think you've got a higher ceiling of production, but I don't know that the floor is quite as high. JJ, in this game, I trust Luke Altmyer to not make the mistake. Last year, it was admittedly his first year starting, and he burst onto the scene at Tulane and such. Mensah has not played as much football as Luke Altmyer. One of my top keys for Duke to get a victory in this game, which they're absolutely capable of doing, would be a big one for the ACC that did not have a great non-conference weekend in week 1. He has to protect the football. If there are multiple turnovers coming from him in this game, I don't know that they can overcome that.
I'm there with you. I think it is going to rely on his shoulders again to take care of the football and set up his teammates for success. He really found a good connection with Quayshawn Brown and Samir Hagans. Cooper Barkate had a really big receiving game for Duke. And then the balance that they were able to get out of Jaquez Moore with a couple of big runs that he had. Duke wasn't able necessarily, though, to run the football successfully. That's been an Achilles heel for them these last 2 seasons, which puts a little bit more pressure on Darian Mensah. But until he proves me otherwise, wearing that Duke uniform, this 1 game worth of sample size, I'm feeling good about what he'll be able to do.
Sonny, give me your number 1 key for Luke Altmyer in this game.
Just keep handing the ball off, because from what I saw, those 3 running backs are legitimate stars when it comes to the Big Ten and the conference. And we saw what Elon was able to do against Duke. I think as long as Luke doesn't make any mistakes himself, Mensah is a fantastically talented quarterback, but he can't score touchdowns if he doesn't have the ball. If we run the ball, we control that clock, and I think that's going to set Illinois up.
We're going to get to our keys. We're going to get to our predictions in this game. I have a sense that I'm going to be a tie-breaking prediction of sorts for Duke and Illinois, one of the games of the week in college football. Still more to get to right after this.
When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a last-minute project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Their Trademaster perks, like priority shipping and dedicated support, make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHColleges for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. I love that it's completely online. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment directly to your door. You can even read real customer reviews on their website. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to rougiette.com/lockedoncollege and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information.
Let's talk keys and predictions for one of the games of the week in college football. And I feel like, Sonny, there's a little bit more on the line for Illinois than Duke. I don't have Duke as a playoff team going into this year or a playoff battling team. I do think they're good. I like what Manny Diaz is doing, but this feels, with Luke Altmyer back and all the production from last year that's returning, like an all-or-nothing sort of season for Illinois. So for them to get a win in this spot, you give me 2 or 3 things that have to happen, or else Bret Bielema is going to have a press conference that won't be quite as fun.
Well, as I kind of referred to in the last segment, we've got to take the ball out of Mensah's hands. Continue to rush that ball, run it down Duke's throat. If Elon can run on Duke, then I feel confident that Illinois, they did have some issues on the right side of their offensive line in that first game, and Bret Bielema actually called them out. He literally said during the halftime show, we have a right guard who's trying to lose his job. That's
whoa. He again,
hell of it honest.
That's why you love Bret Bielema. He's willing to call out his own team, but he's telling that to his face as well while they're watching film. So the pressure's going to be on. If they can run that ball on defense, we were missing one of our better defensive backs, Jaheim Clark, and Western Illinois was able to kind of take advantage of a kid named Caleb Patterson a couple times. If Western Illinois' quarterback can do that, Mensah can absolutely do that. So it's a 50-50 whether Jaheim Clark's going to be able to come back. But otherwise, Gabe Yakus, I think this year it's going to be the year that he becomes a household name amongst a lot of college football fans. He had 2.5 sacks in that first game against Western Illinois. I think as long as he can cause a little havoc and just show Mensah that, hey, this isn't Elon. This is a Big Ten team. It's going to be his first big test against a Power 2 opponent. And I just think, it's one of those, put pressure on him immediately right away. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks that Illinois has on their schedule. So I know they were very vanilla last week. I'm not going to lie. They may have won by 49 points, but they did. I was watching the All-22s literally last night. They showed nothing. And so I'm actually very intrigued to see what Barry Lundy Jr. and defensive coordinator Aaron Henry have lined up for this game on Saturday.
That quote might catch some people off guard, and first of all, that is Bret Bielema, to Sonny's point. But quite frankly, I can think of a program in Tuscaloosa that could use a little direct accountability like that at the moment and seems to be lacking it on an institutional level. So, JJ, was Manny Diaz going to the podium and taking shots at any of his players last week after Elon?
I did not have that happen. No, certainly a performance that Duke would like to clean up in so many different areas and that sort of thing. But, that was not Manny Diaz firing shots at any one of his players. More complimentary of a number of different guys.
Yeah, going into this game, what are your top keys for Duke to walk away with what would be a big-time statement win for the program in the ACC?
I really think it goes back to Darian Mensah carrying a large portion of the load for this Duke team. Duke finished second to last in the ACC and running the football last season, and they got off to a poor start running the football as well this past week against Elon. If you take away a 32-yard touchdown run from Jaquez Moore and a 63-yarder from Anderson Castle for Duke, the Blue Devils had 23 carries for 60 yards. Abysmal with what they were able to do on the ground, and it put more pressure on Darian Mensah, who with his arm did deliver. So I think if Duke can get a little bit more out of the running game, that's certainly going to help them. But more than anything, I actually do think it's on the Duke defense to step up to the test against Illinois, because at some point Mensah is going to deliver and give you some points. The concern would be that your defense doesn't stand tall and you've dug yourself too big of a hole for Mensah to get you out of it.
Sonny, I say X factor for Illinois to win this game, and you say what?
Aiden Lawfrey. Again, or Caden Fagan. I keep cheating. But
I assume that's Aiden Lawfrey?
Aiden Lawfrey.
Okay, I heard in-law. Did you hear in-law, JJ?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay, I heard like in-law free. I'm like, what is in-law free? What I'm so confused. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to go with it's that running back room. Aiden Lawfrey, Caden Fagan, and Khalil Valentine. If those guys can get the yardage that I think that they can get, then I just don't know how Duke is going to be able to keep up.
JJ, same question. X factor.
I'd go Quayshawn Brown with what he's able to do for Duke in the passing game for Darian Mensah. Also as a punt returner, he had a couple of electric plays and took a punt return back for a touchdown against Elon. So Quayshawn Brown is definitely the player to watch out for Duke this weekend.
What are your guys' biggest concerns? You cover these teams even more than I do here on the show. Sonny, on the road for the first time, Illinois has got to go all the way to Durham. It's a pretty long trip. I'd imagine, a couple thousand miles, maybe? I'm not good with that stuff in my head. But anyway, it's a long trip. I don't know the last time that they've gone there, but is that one of your top concerns, or what's something that maybe has your attention? Like, man, I don't know how this is going to go in game number 2.
Well, simply Duke is going to have defensive players that can compete with your offense. Western Illinois simply didn't. Western Illinois, again, is one of the worst FCS teams when it comes to football. But Duke, if you couldn't get separation on their defense or on the WIU defensive backs, you're going to struggle against the Duke guys. So right now, I think that's where the spotlight is completely on. Those young wide receivers that people, including myself, have hyped up all offseason long, talking about how talented of a group that is. We're going to need more of a showing week 2 against Duke, because even if you're able to squeak by Duke week 2, if those guys don't perform, then all of a sudden I'm feeling a lot less optimistic about what the rest of the season is going to look like.
JJ, what's your top concern for Duke in this game?
Well, I was going to say we'll stick to college football and not geography. I just did the quick research. 700 miles.
Oh, gosh.
And about a 12-hour drive, if anybody
Good thing my name's on the show over there.
Exactly. But big concern would just be running the football again. Like I really want to know if this is going to be a problem once again for Duke this season, and then seeing what the defense does against a much stronger test in Illinois to really set the tone for the season ahead. After this one, they've got the big showdown at Tulane, the return game for Darian Mensah, and then it's into ACC competition for Duke. So much on the line for a game like this, and I hope that this Duke team is ready to stand tall.
Yeah, Darian Mensah has to avoid the personal look-ahead factor because he's going back to New Orleans next week. The time has finally arrived for game predictions. I'm going last because I suspect I'm going to break a tie. This is a sub-field goal point spread game. Illinois by 2.5. Over-under is set at 49.5, according to our friends at FanDuel. I actually like the over in this game. Sonny, is Illinois getting it done?
I do think they get it done. I think there's a reason we didn't see all that much from week 1 and still were able to cover that big spread. I think we get a little lucky in the sense where we build a little cushion of a lead, and then maybe we can force a late turnover on Mensah trying to force something. 27-17 Illinois.
JJ, prediction.
Really close. You are going to split the tie here, Spencer. I like the making of a 28-27 type football game. I mean, a really close one that goes down to the wire. But Duke being the home team, I think Darian Mensah has the football late and finds a way to pull up the win.
I have this much of an inclination, even with a 2.5 point spread, to pick a win but a cover. But I'm not going to do it. I'm taking Illinois 31-27 to knock off the Blue Devils and get it done for the Big Ten. We shall see which prediction rings to be true. By the time Saturday comes to a close, Sonny Verma, Locked On Illini, JJ Jackson, Locked On Blue Devils. Check them out. They do a great job.
The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet. Sometimes I want to bet an over. Sometimes I want to bet a team total. Sometimes I want to bet on a player prop. Whatever I want to do, FanDuel will take care of it for me. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pull up Game Time every time I'm thinking about going to a game. I see the price and I click on the button so I can see exactly what the view from my seat is going to be. If I like it, I'll go ahead and purchase a ticket. It makes it that easy. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go. Download Game Time today. And welcome back. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered in a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. I was listening to Jeremy Warner and the Illini Inquirer podcast earlier this week, and he brought up a point that us as Illini fans can't help but laugh at. Illinois, if you take a look at their dominating performance in week 1, obviously it's going to be a much tougher matchup in week 2, but we take a look at what some of the other teams in the old Big Ten West look like. Northwestern, quite honestly, they lost to Tulane. They look like they could be the worst team in the Big Ten. And if they're not, then possibly it could be UCLA. You talk about Purdue, who's a team, even though they look pretty impressive in their first week, they're going to be struggling just because they've got new coaching staff and whatnot. They're completely rebuilding. Nebraska still kind of looks like Nebraska. I have no idea. They're kind of a 50-50. I don't know which direction they're going to go in. If you just sit back and imagine if the Big Ten West still existed, I think Illinois would have been clearly the favorite to win the division in the Big Ten West and make it to the Big Ten championship game. And I feel like it's so incredibly Illini that the timing hasn't worked out. And now that Illinois looks like the dominant program in what was the old Big Ten West, well, the old Big Ten West is gone. So it was just a little funny thought when Jeremy brought it up. I was like, that's so true. And you know what, us Illinois fans, we just got to enjoy and embrace the future that we have ahead of us. Speaking of, I did want to make a kind of a special announcement. Obviously, this show and this channel has been growing a great deal. A lot of you have been with me through day one, and I want to appreciate each and every one of you. We're the second biggest Illini channel already, and I believe we just hit 16 months of being on the air. Well, because of your guys' support, I always advertise Talk Illini to follow me on there. Well, Talk Illini is going to have a brand new channel that's going to be doing a weekly show. If you haven't gotten enough Illini content yet, the cool thing is I'm going to be partnering with On3. That's right, the hottest recruiting service out there. I'll be a part of Orange and Blue News with the Rivals Network, which was purchased by On3. It's an incredible accomplishment for me. I appreciate them to give me this opportunity. They don't have a YouTube show. They don't have a podcast. So this way through On3, I'm going to be able to get more coaches on. We're going to be possibly getting players on the show. And again, I hope some of you can find me at Talk Illini. Again, take a search for it on your YouTube or your favorite audio feed. It should be up at some time by the end of this week. But again, I just wanted to take a second to thank you all. Nothing changes here at Locked On Illini. I'm still going to be here each and every day, and more than likely through about March or April, you're probably going to get about 6 episodes a week, all on Locked On Illini. So make sure, of course, you are subscribed to this channel. That's the most important thing. Make sure you like this video because that's going to share it with other people in the Illini community. But I just want to say this opportunity was offered to me a couple days back. I took the weekend to think it over. And the more people I talked to, the more people were like, hey, this is kind of a no-brainer. And this is something you absolutely have to do. And I can only do it because of the amazing support that you guys have shown me, from being in an accident, 2.5 years ago, barely being able to talk, and now reaching some things I could never even dream about in this content creating space. But I guess I'll just leave you guys there. We have a lot more to talk about. I watched the Illini All 22 film on Sunday night. I'll be honest, they showed very little, especially when it comes to schemes, what they're trying to do. They played a lot of different packages on the defensive side, but clearly they know that if I can have access to that All 22, then certainly Duke will do the same thing. And so because they don't want to show Duke anything, I'll be honest, I did not see much. But moving forward, I do plan on watching the All 22 Sunday evenings after Chicago Bears games and kind of doing a report about what I saw from that type of film on Monday and Tuesday. This particular week, there's just nothing to talk about. I can talk about individual players, which I will on tomorrow's episode, but I just want to give you guys that heads up as well. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Again, we're going to have Illini content for you all week long. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with this Duke game. I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. I think that Mensah kid is quite talented and possibly the best quarterback that's going to be on our schedule. But we'll talk about that and more on a future episode of Locked On Illini. ILL. Love you guys.